if you can stand Morrissey's voice, which a lot of people can't,
Yes,
and
yeah.
I fully respect that because I really can't see how it's so annoying.
Welcome to B-Side Banter. I'm so glad you're here for another episode, and I am here with Augustina, and I found you on TikTok, and you just are doing a lot of content, even though, you're a pretty young person, doing a lot of content about kind of artists from the 80s, the 90s. I'm thinking like The Smiths, The Cure. One of the videos I really remember is about the Cocteau twins. So just a lot of content that is really great, and a little bit of the older stuff. A lot of people I follow, they're into, new music releases, all that stuff. Not saying you're not into new music, but that's the focus. So I knew I had to have you on because we need to talk about some of this stuff. And it's just going to be, I think, refreshing for listeners. So I'm going to kick it to you, Augustina. Just talk a little bit about your channels, about yourself. Go for it.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think my channels are pretty much like 80s and 90s stuff. I think
Mhm.
I've been trying now to be more open to like new stuff, but like still on the same line. So like a lot of the things I would talk about are like artists that sound like the Smiths, that sound like the Cure.
Yeah.
Because like that's really like my core, I guess. And yeah, I'm young, but I guess like my parents were like the ones that would like introduce me to that music a lot.
Mhm.
And being like, I've lost my dad when I was super young and living so
Mhm.
far away from my mom. I really felt like I needed that like connection to music still when I moved out of my house, and
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone to like share it with. So I am from Argentina, and I've originally moved to Spain. Now I'm in Germany, but I just needed to talk about music with
Mhm.
someone, and I didn't have this someone. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do like TikTok videos about this, and then yeah, it grew, and then you probably found me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you've got like a pretty awesome audience, super engaged. People really, really enjoy your content. That's amazing. Um, how do you kind of, I guess you talked a little bit about your preferences, the Smiths Cure. Maybe dive into that a little bit more. Like who are some of or what are some of your favorite genres? What are some things that you gravitate toward?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick like one favorite genre, I'd say probably it's post punk.
Okay.
I think I'll go for that. But like, I'm also super into shoegaze. I'm very into indie rock, and that
Hmm.
also includes a bit more of like newer stuff. So like
Yeah.
maybe more 2000, 2010, like
Hmm.
maybe yeah. Also like some grunge stuff. There's always this question if Smashing Pumpkins is grunge or shoegaze, or is maybe
Hmm.
like an in between. I love them a lot. They were like
Yeah.
my favorite band for a long time when I was a teenager.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there's lots, and also I am like quite a bit into like Gothic stuff, which is also a bit of a kind of tricky genre to define because the Gothic
Yeah.
community sometimes can be really strict,
Yeah.
especially when you look like this. But I do really love it, and I really enjoy listening to Gothic music. Um, and then what else I love? Of course, I like some like more dreamy stuff like Cocteau Twins, like
Yeah.
we mentioned in the beginning. I'm super into them. It's quite hard to find music that sounds as beautiful and
Mm,
ethereal and mysterious
absolutely.
as them. And yeah, and then also a little bit of electronic music. You know, I'm
Hmm.
still a person that lives in Berlin. I just don't talk about it that much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but in the same way that like my parents introduced me to a lot of rock and a lot of like this music, they also liked electronic music.
Hmm.
And I think like maybe my beginnings of being so into electronic music was maybe New Order, and then from
Hmm.
there,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
No, that's
yeah,
amazing.
a lot.
Well,
I think there's a lot of
I know it's hard when you're like talk about that because you're like, well, sometimes I like this and sometimes I like that. Depends on the mood I'm in.
for sure.
Yeah. Could you define like a little bit? You kind of talked about it briefly and said that it's hard to define, but could you maybe give us some examples of what you would say Gothic music is? Like, what are some artists that would fit into that category?
I think one that I, you know, everyone's gonna come after me, but maybe Sisters of Mercy is one of them.
Okay.
Then I think that uh, the Gothic community also like kind of accepts some albums from The Cure, For
Mm.
example, Disintegration, I think it
Yeah, sure.
counts.
Yeah.
Some Depeche Mode tracks, I think it counts.
Mm.
And yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to define, I guess.
Yeah.
But I guess how I define it is when there's like some songs that are just like about love and death and like
Mm.
this very moody and with that
Mhm.
aesthetic, I just love it. And I also love it in films. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's quite hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and what would be because, like, if I'm thinking of, like, an aesthetic,
Yeah.
like, when somebody talks about Gothic, and then when somebody talks about emo,
Mm.
like, sometimes they are really similar, but I feel like emo music is really well defined, and it's, like, kind of like an offshoot of, like, punk or, like, pop punk a little bit. Would there be, like, a lot of similarities between emo and Gothic, or are they pretty, like, separate?
I think they're super separate actually.
Mm.
And I'm not like I don't want well, I guess it's also hard to when are you like a goth? You know, do you have to
Yeah,
dress this way?
yeah.
Is it about politics? Is it about music?
Mhm.
Like some people say like if you enjoy the music, you're goth. But
Mm,
then you're dressed up like this and it's kind of funny.
yeah.
But I think they're definitely different. The music sounds super, super different.
Yeah.
I guess another example maybe would be like Susie and the Banshees.
Okay.
So I think like they're both a bit like dark and like moody aesthetics, but I think Gothic is just like a bit more romantic and like reminds you a bit more of like a cemetery and like Dracula and like
Mm,
vampires and stuff like
mhm.
this. Whereas emo, like in my, if I think about it, I think about maybe like a teenager and like a bit
Yeah, yeah.
be like, more 2000s where this like it's just yeah, it's very different for me. But I guess I do really understand why people that are not maybe into that much they see it similarly.
Mm,
Um, yeah, they just
yeah.
see some like dressing up differently. So
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think how I would maybe categorize it in my mind is like goth gothic like stuff seems a little more like grand, whereas emo seems a little more like whiny. Like emo's like really whiny stuff,
for
like
sure, I didn't want to be like like that, but I fully agree.
yeah. I'll
Like
let
it,
the people come after me.
and like and I really don't like emo stuff. And
Mm,
that's how I know that they're very different and then like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
not related like at all.
Mhm.
Um but I guess emo is like yeah, it's whiny and it's more like yeah, maybe like complaining and the tone of voice is super different. I think in
Yeah.
most like gothic stuff like the voice are really low. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it's super. I don't know if it's whiny. It's more like, oh my god, I would die for you so bad, and
Mm,
I would die for
mhm.
you in 100 lives, and all this stuff, which I love.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, totally. Um, yeah, that's kinda where I was like, it feels grand, like, everything is like a grand gesture, right? Like, it feels like whereas, yeah, emo can be, like, very, like, "Aw," like, like, a little more like, I'm I guess I don't wanna say anything that's really offensive to people, but, because I like emo music, I grew up listening to it in high school, but it just seems like much more like high school things, like, you're just kinda, "Aw, I don't like my life," like, "This sucks,"
Yeah,
like, that's kind of the emo stance, and that is trivializing it a little bit, but, like, if you're trying to, like, find the differences, whereas, like, Gothic to me seems like much more like, this is a grand gesture, whether it's, like, in a depressive way or in a like I'm gonna win you over, I love you way. Like it's like it's much more than just like you broke up with me and I'm sad, like
yeah.
kind of thing.
Also, I don't know how it is in like the emo community because I've never been like into the music, and I think that's the
Mhm.
first step, right? But
Yeah.
like in the gothic community, there's like bunch of different types.
Mm.
Um, and it's so deep, and they're very extra.
Yeah.
Some people take it, it's like a lifestyle really for some
Mm.
people. Um, which I don't know enough about to talk about this, but
Yeah.
like I've seen it and I've tried to read about it and I've scrolled on TikTok and I see like this type of golf and this type of golf and I'm like, wow, there's so much to it.
Mm.
But yeah, of course, the first step is the music, and I like the music, so
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um let's talk about, like, because you said your parents kind of introduced you to a lot of music, and that's how you connect with them being further away. And you said also that your dad passed away, which super sorry about that. But you know, the music can connect people that aren't around anymore, that are far away. Like, it's just got that power. But maybe let's talk a little bit about some of your, like, big moments in your life with music. Like, when did some artists come into your life? What did they do for you? Yeah, talk a
Yeah,
little bit about your story
yeah.
that way.
I think, well, music has always been there for me, and it super connects me to my parents.
Hmm.
And my dad passed away when I was 8, so like a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
So when I lost him, I was only 8, and when you're 8, you don't really know like what's
Mm,
going on, and like you don't
absolutely.
even what do you mean he's dead? Like where
Mm,
is he? Like I didn't really understand it. So luckily, it wasn't such a harsh process for me. Um, but I always managed to feel connected to him through music. And so
mm,
I never really felt like I lost him. I felt like he left such a collection of stuff. And I love that. And he used to be like the curator of the
mm,
family. So he would like bring CDs and stuff like this, and like it would be like, I don't know how you say this um word in English actually, when you get like when you don't pay for the music, when you like
mm.
download it in like a sketchy way, and then you
Yeah.
make the back in the day.
Yes.
Um, so he would do this, and he would find some stuff, and he would put like some popular stuff on there. But then he would also like discover like a new underrated artist, and
Mm,
he would play it to me and my mom in the car. And I'm not an only child now. I have a very tiny brother, but I grew up as an only child, so it
mm,
was the three of us. And he would like show us stuff in the car, and it would always be the same. And I always knew like the first time I listened to a song if I'm gonna like it or not.
mm,
My mom took some time. And then when we lost him and I was a bit older, I started doing the same thing. And I started like discovering tracks. And my mom, maybe she would be driving me to school. I'd be like 15. I'd be like, Mom, what do you think about this one? And she'd be like, oh, I don't know. And then the next day I played it again. She's like, oh, yeah, I like it. And then we'd
mm.
just have this dynamic. Um, and then, yeah, of course, when I move out of my house, don't have this anymore. And I'm like, great, let me just do this for like some random people, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we feel the need to like uh, share music with people. And if I find something cool, I really want like people to listen to it. And I still 100% do this. Like, so much with all of my friends, like with my boyfriend. Like if I listen to a song, I'm gonna send it to you, and I
Mm.
take this seriously. Like I want you to really tell me what you think.
Yeah.
And I feel
Yeah.
like that's like actually one of the only few things I'm good at. Like if I know you and I meet you like once or twice, I already figure out kind of what you like. And
Mm,
most likely the song I'll send you like you would like.
mm.
So that is really like a bonding experience because it also
Yeah.
means a lot for people when you show them something like because they feel seen.
Yeah.
They'll "Oh,
Absolutely.
so you listened and
Mm,
you understand me, and yeah, you're right, I like this."
mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, that's how I connect with people a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, and how many of these bands that you have, like, in your favorite artists would have been bands that maybe your father, introduced to you? How many of them did you find on your own?
I would say, like, most of them, it was through my parents, but then there are definitely a few that I discovered when I was a bit older.
Mm,
So, like, maybe the core from back then was, like, The Cure,
mhm.
Oasis, which I don't actually like listen to that much. I kind
Yeah,
of save for special moments.
yeah.
Depeche Mode for sure.
Mm,
And then like yeah, then some like sprinkle of some like electronic stuff like Daft Punk but I think like the core was like by them. Then there's obviously some Argentinian music like Soda Stereo, which I think it's popular in like all South America.
mhm,
Um, and then what happened was when my first like high school boyfriend, we started dating because we were into the same stuff,
mm.
obviously. So we
Sure,
listened to the
yeah.
music. We were the same age, therefore his dad was also a big music fan
Mm,
and he was born in the same era. But his taste was a little bit different than maybe my dad. And then he also introduced me to a lot of music.
mm.
Um,
Interesting.
so he kind of introduced me to, for example, um, Smashing Pumpkins
Mm.
and Weezer. I should never,
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I guess when I kind of grew up, then some music appears in your life, and you're like, how is it possible that I never really like got into this.
Mm.
For example, Cocteau Twins, I've only discovered it when I was like 18, I
Mm.
think.
Yeah.
And then it became super important to me.
Yeah.
It was with me through the process of moving out of my house, like
Mm.
moving from South America to Europe by myself.
Yeah.
It became super, super important to me. But yeah, I mean, I guess that when you're young and you were not born in the 80s, there's so much still to discover. And I definitely have a lot of bands that I still have to try.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's really tough. It's hard enough to find bands and artists that you like that are current, then let alone be going back in time and being like, let me look through this time and this time and this time. Um, yeah, and I guess that brings me to like what is it about older music that you enjoy so much versus like newer music? Like what makes it so that you're like this stuff is all my favorite, newer stuff, whatever.
Uh, I mean, I do like newer stuff. Obviously, just much less. I think that, I guess, mm, I mean, I don't want to say that there are like less bands because, like, actually, part of my job is like kind of discovering smaller bands with like
Mm,
a smaller audience. But I guess that, like, the thing that you have with older stuff and where I kind of gravitate so much toward it is because there's already so many people that are telling you as a young person, right? As someone
mm,
that hasn't like wasn't born back then. My dad didn't show me the Stone Roses. I guess they were not as popular as Oasis.
sure.
I didn't know about them.
Mhm.
And then a bunch of people are telling me you should listen to them.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just like this amount of people that I kind of trust that are also part of my community. That I'm like, oh, okay, so hold on, there's
Mhm.
20 people that are telling me I should listen to this, and I guess that's why maybe I just go and click through a bit more like the 80s. I also feel kind of it's nice when you know a bit about the 80s and you can kind of separate the artists and you see how they influence each other and you're
Mm,
like, oh, this came right after this album, and so you can see how this sort of sound starts here, you can see how it gets a bit more electronic here, and I find that super interesting, and like you can sort of draw a timeline. Also, you can connect it a bit more to like what was going on in the world
mm.
right now. You definitely can, it just doesn't feel maybe as like novel.
Yeah.
Because like what's going on right now. Like I think a great example is maybe Fontaine's DC.
Mhm.
I think they're amazing. I love
Mhm.
them. Seeing them live twice, they're fantastic. They really have this sort of, I think, of an 80s vibe to me in some
Mhm.
songs.
Mhm.
Or I see like some sort of influence with some bands from back then. And they are also like super political. And I think that like my kids will see it and they'll see like, oh my God, look at these guys and like how much they're doing and how much they're speaking up for what they care about.
Mm.
Um, and I think that they will feel like this connection that I feel maybe when, I don't know, the Clash is talking about what was going on back then.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because you can see it from far away and you're like,
Mm.
oh, you can learn through it.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that. Maybe it's also that it just like kind of reminds me of my parents. I don't know.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Um, there is like something interesting about music, like, because it almost feels forced when you're in the moment and an artist is writing about something that's happening in the moment. You almost feel like, at least this is me, and maybe you feel differently, but like for example, if an artist writes about like COVID or something, you're kind of like, this seems cheesy, this seems
Yeah.
corny, this seems weird, but like that's what made some of the artists, like you talked about the Clash. That's what makes some of these artists that were very, very political, like System of a Down or something like that are known to be very political bands, so great then and so great still now.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you like, how do you do that? How, as a band, as an artist, do you talk about current issues, current things, in a way that you can gain the respect now and you gain the respect later?
Yeah. That's a great question. I'm not an artist, so happily I don't have to deal with this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it is like really like a great question. And I don't know. And I'm with you when it yeah someone is telling me about this really recent stuff, and like, and COVID was a huge thing, right? But
Mhm.
like we were there, and so we were like, okay, COVID, like whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But I guess that like some people will think about it, and like for example in Argentina we were locked up for a whole year.
Mm.
It is actually insane. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
and I super get it, but for some reason I kind of, I'm like, I mean, another thing I guess that you have when you're into like some older bands, which I really enjoy, is that you can fully dive.
Mm,
If you're like, okay, I've never listened to, I don't know, The Cure. That's a bunch of albums.
mm.
Um, and you listen to one song, you like it. You listen to one album, you like it. There's 100 other more that you can
Yeah,
go like, enjoy,
yeah.
which is, I think, like super enjoyable to me because I can fully like get to know them in all their eras. Which,
Mhm,
is, for example, this happened with me with Cocktail Twins because I discovered them when I was a bit older, and they also have quite a lot of music. So I was like,
mhm.
okay, bunch of albums to go through. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
And I to wait for any new release. There will never
Mm,
be another release, but at least I have a bunch of stuff to listen to now, which I
mhm.
like.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, this is like we're kind of maybe still talking about the same bands, but like maybe changing gears a little bit. It's interesting because The Cure just put out an album in 2024,
That's true.
which is recent, and a lot of people I think were kind of like at times like they're done. They're not making any new music. They're probably just going to ride their old music. Um, but I feel like this new album was really well received. Like a lot of people really enjoyed it, really liked it. What do you think of like that when an old band like The Cure that's been around for a long time puts out
Mhm.
new music? Like are you there for it? Are you following it? I guess the roundabout question I'm asking is did you like The Cure's new album?
I did like it. Can I compare it to some of the others? No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Mhm.
And maybe but, like, it's also unfair because I
Yeah.
grew up listening to The Cure, you
Mm.
know? It was
Mhm.
in the car, it was on my way to, like, school, it was just playing on the living room, like,
Yeah.
it just cannot compare it. And
Mhm.
I am for, obviously, bands releasing new stuff. I was definitely excited for the new The Cure release, but
Yeah.
it's also risky.
Mm.
Because like if you've been making music when you were in your 20s and now you're 60 and
Mhm.
well, it will sound different. And
Yeah.
maybe it's tricky, right? Because like
Yeah.
obviously fan you want to hear some new stuff because you listen to older albums back and forth 100 times.
Mm.
But then it's like you go and you finish your career top because you're the Cure.
Yeah.
Um, or you risk it all, and maybe your
Mm.
last album is shit. You never know. It was good, but like from my point of view, I just cannot compare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And like I guess another one would be what like well didn't Smashing Pumpkins also release an album in
they
2024?
release stuff. They release
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
they still do. I don't feel the same way about their new stuff
Yeah.
at all compared to the old stuff.
Mm.
They do. I think quite a lot of albums actually. There
Yeah.
was one that I do not remember the name. It was I think 2020 or so. I remember it
Mhm.
was during the pandemic.
Okay.
That one had a few songs that I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
But generally, I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, not that big of a fan in
So it's
maybe.
like you've got The Cure that released, the Smashing Pumpkins that released. The Cure was like decent, Smashing Pumpkins was kind of meh. So it's
Yeah.
like it is one of those things that's really tough like when you're a band like that that has, such a following, there's lore behind it,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, you kind of have your legacy on the line a little bit when you're releasing new music after you've still been you've been around for 40 years or whatever it is.
I mean, still, it does make me very happy and excited because to be honest, most of the bands that I really like, they hate each other or they're dead.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
almost like maybe the lead singer is dead, so it's like okay, it
Mm,
doesn't matter whatever you want to invent, I'm not gonna either see them live or listen to any new stuff. So it is very cool when someone
mm.
dares to like release some new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Um, what are some bands you mentioned Fontaine's DC.
Mm,
What are some other bands that you follow that are newer? They don't have to be like super super new, but in the last 10 years.
yeah, well, Fontaines is pretty up there. I would say another band that I really like is Molchatoma.
Mm,
I don't know if you heard of them. Pretty sure they're from
mm,
Russia. They make kind of I guess I would define it like as post-punk. It's pretty like dark.
mm,
Really enjoy their stuff. on now you put me on the spot because I have to think about new stuff that I like. But
I
there's
like to.
definitely so much.
Yeah.
But I have to think, did I list this somewhere? Probably.
I don't think you did. Unfortunately, I'm putting you completely on the spot.
Think that like something I've never said is I really like Charlie XCX.
Okay, yeah.
I've never shared because I just know my followers will not stand this one.
Yeah.
But I really like Charlie and I'm like, well, obviously I've heard of Charlie. She has like a lot of pop stuff like when I was younger, but when I listened to Brad, I was like, oh damn, this is good.
Mhm.
Um and then I was like, okay, let me go and hunt for some old stuff that she had and look
Mm.
for some albums. But I guess she's a new artist that I really enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like she with Brat, she like really leaned into like kind of these club vibes, which
Yeah.
like I don't is that like did that translate really well in a place like Berlin? Like is that was that a really popular album?
I mean, Berlin is kind of like I'm too cool for you,
Mm,
type of vibes. And so like I've never had the luck to go to a club and listen to Charlie, sadly.
mm, mm,
Um, Love to. I'm sure there is. I'm just like a new kind of person in Berlin. I've only been here for like 10 months.
sure.
Um, but but yeah, I mean, I would love to listen to her in the club, but I think that like Berlin, at least in like in the big clubs, which are like the popular ones, they always try to be a bit like kind of cool and play some stuff that you probably haven't heard of before, and like
Yeah.
well, just they try to go more like that. But also, I think I really love Brad because like when I moved to Berlin, I kind of went back to like also my party era because
Mm,
in Argentina you go out to parties when you're too young
mm,
too young.
sure,
So
yeah.
like when I was like, 14, 15 years old, I was going to party until late
Mm,
and getting drunk with my friends. And then I had this era from like, I don't know, 19 till 21, which is I think when most people are partying their hardest. I was like, "No, I'm done with this. Like I'm too old
nice.
for this. I
Yeah.
want to stay in." Um, and then I moved back to Berlin and I was like, what the fuck was wrong with me? Let's go party. And I went party and I was like, I'm super young. It's like, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Uh, so I started going back to party, and then Brad was kind of like on with my friends on like the pre-drinks here in my house.
Mm.
It's always in my house, and we just played Charlie, and it was like, yeah, it gets you going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It absolutely does. Yeah, I was kind of curious because like especially in Europe, like there's more of the club scene. Like I don't I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, so it's like it's totally different.
for
The
sure.
bars you go to here, it's like country music. It's like drinking songs, which are fine. It's totally fine. And late at night the DJ will come on, but they're like playing like pop songs. So it's not like true club vibes where you've got somebody playing something that's like club music, right, or dance music or something. So I was just curious if that's translated to Berlin, but
I think
it
that
makes
like,
sense.
and it's just been like club vibe since forever, like for so long, right?
Yeah.
Like, or at least since I was born, I think Berlin was already like huge in the like clubs and electronic stuff, and
Mm.
yeah, I think it's always been like this year. I don't think Brad changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't have changed it. Yeah, if anything, Brat was like trying to put like for even though she's from the UK, so it's not like, but for an American audience, it was kind of putting club music on the mainstream's mind, right? Because that's not typically what our pop songs sound like. It doesn't sound
Yeah,
like club music. It
it
sounds generic pop.
it does. It does. Like yeah, it's different to some other pop artists, and it but I loved it because like
Mhm.
where now you're gonna ask me to name some, but like I do feel like there were a lot of artists in the 2000s that have this sort of vibe that Charlie bring back, which I also enjoyed because
Mm.
my mother was still kind of young in the 2000s, and she was listening to this, and like she was listening to, okay, let's say Lady Gaga.
Mm.
Right.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, here, hold on, I see this. Also, I think that Brad is super influenced by Daft Punk, which I love.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can really hear it, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely different. And it was like, oh yes, like pop music is back. I love this. For
Mhm.
me, pop music has always been there, but for me and for like what was my taste, I think I was like, yeah, I'm listening to pop again. Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, let's talk about Daft Punk a little bit. They're like one of the biggest um electronic bands, and obviously like, their influences go all over the place. So like without their influences, we wouldn't have got Daft Punk. And so they didn't necessarily start a genre as much as they just brought like this awareness to a genre globally, really.
Yeah.
And then, they influenced people like LCD Sound System, which, in especially on the East Coast of the US and New York was a huge, huge thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, talk a little bit about Daft Punk and your view on them.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say that it hasn't been said? I mean, I love
Mm.
them. I think they're like probably like the coolest. Like, I don't think you can call them a band because they're two. The
Yeah.
coolest duo I could ever.
Yeah.
I think in like for me in the music industry, probably like the coolest duo.
Mm.
They, yeah, I mean, just banger after banger, and like I love their stuff. And I love their like beginnings of like first few albums, and I loved like
Mm.
newer stuff like Instant Crash with the Julian Casablancas, like one of the best songs ever. Actually, I think I would put it
Yeah.
in my 100 best songs of all time.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I think that when I was younger, I was yeah, my parents liked that punk, but they were not getting me like deep on it. They were
Mm.
maybe like just sprinkling some of like the basics. And then as I gotten a bit older, I was like, because I also started appreciating listening to albums.
Mm.
Um, I had CDs when I was young, and then they were gone.
Yeah.
And then I am and now as an adult, like started understanding how important it is to listen to an album, how it all like actually makes sense, and
Mm.
it's like an art, and they're putting the songs together in that order for a reason. And I
Yeah.
think that for some time I was when I just got Spotify, I was like, oh, well, amazing! I have all the music in the world, so let me just like shuffle and put everything and put all of
Yeah.
my playlist and then shuffle it, and then now I'm like, okay, no, hold on.
Mm.
Actually listening to one whole Daft Punk album is an event.
Yeah.
Uh, like, maybe I'll get together with some of my friends love music also, and
Yeah.
my partner also does. So like, we'll get together and be like, okay, today we listen to one whole album of Daft Punk before we
Mm.
go to the club, or yeah, whatever. And so now, as an adult, I get to like experience their stuff as a whole,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
I think it's yeah, it's nice. And then you can also like point them like, okay, this wasn't this year and this wasn't this year, and you understand everything that was going on. And then you see like who they influence, which I think they influence a lot of people.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't have that much more to say than what
Mm.
they're perfect.
I know. They're amazing. I was just listening to Discovery again for the however many millionth time I've listened to it. And I was like, man, how can a band be this like perfect like from the beginning kind of thing? So, um one thing that we can kind of lead into this really naturally because you talked about listening to albums as a whole, um, which I think is like coming back. Like you said, like I think just the novelty of being able to cherry pick whatever song your favorite songs, which you
Yeah.
could do before. You could burn a CD or like you could even like, you know what I mean? Like you could even cuz even in the time of cassettes, you could make mixtapes. Like it was possible. It was much harder though. Now it's so easy just to make a playlist and, AI will generate a playlist for you.
Oh,
You're listening to an artist on Spotify and it goes automatically into the artist radio and then you're listening to, similar artists and you're discovering new music, which is cool. It's cool in of itself, but there is something about listening to an album as a whole um, that I think is coming back with the help of people like you. Music influencers that are like, this is a great album, like listen to this album instead of just being like, hey, here's some songs. But what are five of your favorite albums? I'll say maybe this. What are five must listen albums for anybody out there?
oh, only five. Okay. Um, I'm gonna have to like leave some of my favorites out, but okay. I would say just to be tricky, all of the albums from The Smith. If you can stand Morrissey's voice, which a lot of people can't,
Yes,
and
yeah.
I fully respect that because I really can't see how it's so annoying.
Mm,
But I love it, and like I just like I discovered it, I think when I was like, I don't know, 15 years old, 16 years old, and I just couldn't get enough of it.
Mm.
And like again, to listen to the whole albums, right? Because like when I was younger, I think I just listened to some songs from the Smiths here and there, my parents, the radio. But then when I got Spotify, and I was like, oh damn, I can listen to all of their stuff. I don't
Yeah.
think there's a single song from the Smiths don't like.
Mm.
I think I could probably name all of them if you
Yeah.
play them in a game, which
Yeah.
I think that my favorite, I'm gonna say The Queen is Dead
Mm.
from the Smiths.
Yep.
Heaven or Las Vegas from Cocteau Twins for sure.
Yep.
Disintegration by The Cure, wonderful. There's other The Cure stuff, but then maybe I want to say Canción Animal from Soda Stereo, which is this band that I was telling you about, Argentinian band.
Mm.
What do I want to say for the last one? Because there could be so many. Okay, I guess I want to say Live Through This by Hole. Also, it was an album that was really there for me when I
Mm.
needed. Every time I
Yeah.
was angry and I just needed, you feel like you want to shout, but you can't shout, or
Mm.
someone's gonna call the police, and I would
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
to Courtney Love this and shouting on my headphones. That would make me feel better.
Mm.
So I guess I would say those five. There's definitely more, but yeah.
Yeah. Um. So what do you think? I'm gonna put you on the spot again. Because I love doing it. But for the Smiths, what do you think is like an underrated album that they have?
Oh, mm, I mean, there's only five or six, so like I don't think they have any underrated album.
Nothing underrated.
I don't because there's only a few, which I'm very
Mhm.
sad.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess that people will come after me if I say that any of them are like underrated because they'll be like, "Well, listen to all of them." Okay. I would say there are definitely some underrated songs that are like very like some people hate them and some people love
Mm.
them.
I see.
Like frankly, Mr. Shankly. I
Okay.
think people are like, "What the fuck?" And I this song, and I just find it like so witty and I
Mm.
don't know. Maybe if you're English, it sounds like ridiculous.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah.
As someone their first language is not English,
Mm.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's also Golden Lights. Some people they don't like it because it just sounds a bit different to
Mm.
the Spits. Um, it's like kind of out there,
Yeah.
and then yeah, I think those are like underrated songs. But I don't know if I could say one underrated album.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. They don't have enough. Well, then I'll carry the question to the Cure then. What's an underrated album of the Cure? Because they have more than enough.
Yeah, I'll say I think it's "Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me," the name
Okay.
of the one that has the kiss.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think there are some songs in there that we are not talking about enough. They have
Mm.
some hits in there,
Yeah.
but as an album as a whole, it's actually like incredibly good.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think that one's underrated for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, my favorite is still Disintegration, which I guess
Yeah.
is like most popular, but that one
Well,
is really fun.
it's popular for a reason. Like those albums, like
Right.
same with the Queen is Dead, right? Like those albums are popular, but for a reason
Of course.
because they're their best work. So it's like I know there's people on the internet that are like, "Oh, you're so basic. Like that's your favorite album by them." And
This
it's like,
happens to be
come on.
my living. Like because I make this stuff where I make the top 10.
Mm,
Oh my god. I mean, it's great because people hate on me. It's good for
yeah.
the engagement. I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'm really honest. Like I'm gonna put actually my favorite songs, and it's so funny because there might be a band that I know a lot of songs about, and
Mm,
there might be some bands that I just like maybe the more popular stuff, right?
mm,
Or maybe a band that I know all the songs, but their more popular stuff is popular for a reason.
yeah. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what I put in the list, people are
Mhm.
gonna absolutely hate me. Because if I put the popular stuff, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're a poser. You don't know anything about them. You should listen
Yeah.
to this song that's very obscure and this unreleased." And
Yeah.
then if I make a top 10 of favorites of a band, and I'm actually pretty deep on it, and they're like, "What are you pretending to be like such a good fan? Like, what are these songs? Like, put the popular ones, or you most popular song." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I know." I don't know. When I did it with Oasis, right? I didn't put Wonderwall because I cannot stand that song anymore.
Mm,
And I really like Oasis, and they were like, "You didn't put Wonderwall? Like, who do you think you are?" And I'm like,
yeah.
I fucking top, you know? Leave me alone.
Yeah, this is like my top 10. Come on. Like what are you saying?
There's always someone there saying like, "Well, make your own top," and I'm like, "Thanks."
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't matter what you're gonna choose. People
Mhm.
are gonna complain.
Yeah. What are some of the what are some of the worst complaints or maybe like the videos that had the most negativity around them that you've put out?
I think that those ones are the ones that get the most hate, like the ones that I make the top 10.
Mm.
I remember I not too long ago I made a top 10 from like Smashing Pumpkins on TikTok, and it got, I don't know, in like 3 days it got like 500,000 views, super fast. Billy Corgan messaged me personally, and he said,
Wow.
"Hey, don't take this stuff like don't listen to them. Like your videos are super cool. Like keep
That
rocking." I don't know, like exactly. I actually posted this,
that's
but
cool.
it got so much like people hating on me because I don't pick
Mm.
their favorite songs,
Yeah.
and like, even the lead singer was like, chill out, don't worry about this. And I'm not
Yeah.
worried, but I love that he messaged me.
Yeah.
Um, they get so much hate, and then
Mm.
yeah. I mean, I think that there's like some older men that hate the fact that I'm a younger person listening to or
Mhm.
recommending. I think that's the problem. Not that I'm
Okay.
listening, I'm
Yeah.
recommending, and they're like, "You were not there. What do you know about it?"
Yeah.
Um, and
Come
I'm like,
on.
well, I don't know that much about it. I just like this, so I'm gonna share.
Yeah. The gatekeeping is gets like so excessive with that type of stuff. Like especially when like you mentioned people being like, "Oh, you're not a real fan. Like what about this unreleased song?" Like I'm a big fan of lots of artists. I don't know if I would know any of their unreleased music. Like I feel like that's like this new level of like I
Yeah,
need to be better than everybody. I need to be the best fan. So I'm going to go and like comb through YouTube and comb through all of this stuff, like try to find bootleg like
yeah.
CDs or something of live performances, like all of this stuff. And it's like, that's cool. That's great for you. But like, I can still be a huge fan of an artist and not know all of their unreleased music, let
I
alone be like, that's my favorite song, this unreleased song that they put out.
I absolutely hate that type of people. I like, who defines like, how many songs do you need to know to be a fan? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I would say I really like, for example, Blood Orange,
Mm.
um, which new stuff, for example. There you go.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
you can. I don't think I can name any albums because I listen to them kind of like passively. Like I
Yeah.
just like put the orange like on shuffle, and like I just put them in there because like I don't know. I just find like when people come to my house all the time, I love having guests, and so
Mhm.
it's nice to put on while I was just having dinner, some chill Blood Orange. I don't know their stuff, and someone would ask me, "Okay, what's your favorite Blood Orange album?" I don't think I
Yeah.
can name any, but I think they're in my most streamed stuff lately.
Yeah.
Um, like
Yeah.
I don't like people that are like this, like trying to see who likes what
Mhm.
most. I also don't like the people that gatekeep stuff.
Yeah.
And if I post something that is not that popular, used to happen way more like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago when I started on TikTok, and I would share some stuff and they would be like, "Don't post about this. We don't want people to make this a TikTok song." And like
Mm.
oh my God, can we relax? And worse when it would happen with like a popular song that some
Yeah.
people think that this is like something that you would gatekeep. That is
Mhm.
like, this artist has 3 million listeners. What do
Yeah.
you think you're gatekeeping? Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
don't get this.
Yeah. Well, and like the stigma too, like around, like I don't want this to be a TikTok sound. It's like, but you might not want that, but the band that you don't want that to do that wants it. Like they want their song to go viral again. Like and that's kind of the cool thing about TikTok is like a lot of these older bands had songs push them back into relevancy and like that's a huge thing for them.
Yeah,
And it's like why are you upset? Like I get that you like want to be like I get that you want to be like their number one fan
yeah,
and more people coming in like means maybe that could be threatened, but it's like that's not what the band wants. The band wants to be like
yep, of
yeah,
course.
like I'm sure there's some bands that are like, "Oh, this is stupid. I don't like TikTok and like whatever." But like Like, I don't want my art sullied like that. Like, there are some people that are characters like that, but I think for the most part, every band wants their music out there. They want their music to be streamed and to be put in front of an audience.
Of course, who doesn't want to make money and sell ticket shows and have everyone like singing to your stuff? I mean,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. As you said, I'm sure that there's someone out there that is like, no, dude, don't put my stuff on social media or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I say most artists are not like this, and this happens also quite a lot with artists that are like not the most popular, but they're also like they're in the 1 or 2 million. This
Mm.
is not underrated stuff.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of people listening to this.
Yeah.
I think that it happened when I used to post. Now I think McGee's almost like 3 or 4 million listeners a month.
Mm.
McGee is also a new artist that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Um, and when I started posting about him, maybe like a year ago or so, people were like totally hating on it, and they were like,
Mm.
"Don't post about him." And I was like, "What? Why?"
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, come on. He wants his stuff. Now he's super popular. Everybody wants his sound. Like all of
Super.
like yeah, like every guitar pedal company and amp company, they're trying to make stuff that is like this sounds like McGee because that's what people want. Everybody wants this sound now. They want to sound like him. Um yeah, he's like working with some of the biggest artists now. Just did work with, with Justin Bieber and Dijon and like that's just that's just what happens, and obviously he wants that, and it's up to him to decide what is, like, selling out or something like that for him. Like, if he's like, "No, I like this. I like working with these people,"
Well,
then
I actually don't know because something that I did notice is that you cannot tag him on Instagram. So he has
mm,
the tagging option, but I guess he goes for like this mysterious type of like
yeah,
guy. Even in the show, I went to his show here in Berlin. He's got his face all over, and you
mm,
can't really see his face, and like, it was all so foggy, and like the lights were super low, and you cannot really see his face.
mm.
So I don't think if I saw him on the street, I'll be like, "Oh,
You'd
Maggie."
even yeah,
I don't think, and even though I was like first on the line, I couldn't really see him.
yeah.
So I don't know if actually he likes it or not, but I reckon he probably likes his like shows to be sold out. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and playing bigger venues and you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, I'm sure yeah. Yeah, they all want something along those lines. Like that's the dream is for your art to go out
yeah,
to all these people and people appreciate it. That's kind of a lot of the point. Like obviously creating the art is a big thing too, but a lot of the point is for people to find to relate to it and to accept it and want to continue listening.
yeah. I fully agree.
I also want to know your 5 favorite bands slash artists. I'm sure we could glean from this conversation what they are, but
Yes.
I'd love to just have it in a list.
I think I'm gonna repeat myself quite a bit here.
That's
Um,
totally fine.
let's do it. I think my favorite band is the Smiths over the
Mm,
Cure. Yes.
okay.
Then the Cure for sure. Then I would say also Cocteau Twins. I would then put the Depeche Mode there, which I didn't talk about that much.
Mhm.
And then I want to say New Order. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Nice. So Smashing Pumpkins didn't make the cut of the 5. They'd be 6 or 7 probably.
Yeah, probably.
Nice.
Actually, there'll be
Nice.
6 or 7.
Nice.
I think I mean, I absolutely love um, like their stuff, but do I like all of their music? No.
Mm, yeah.
And that's why I don't like put them as like my favorite, because I think that with my favorites, I want to put the ones that I can listen to any of the albums and like
Mm,
leave them on. Some Smashing Pumpkin songs, I'm like, what?
yeah.
Skip it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not
Yeah.
gonna put them that high.
Yeah. Well, and that like I think even like some of the diehard fans are aware of that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like they're aware like yeah, this isn't all for me. Um and like they're aware that there's a few misses here and there in terms of maybe even whole albums or at least lots of songs.
yeah,
Um it's almost like when you're cheering for a sports team and your sports team isn't very good. Like so you just have to push through it. Like you still love
I
them. You
accept it.
you still love them and they had good moments at some point in history but you're like yeah I still cheer for them, but like sometimes it's not the best. And
Absolutely.
that with Smashing Pumpkins, I feel like that's like the common thread that I've noticed with people that are really diehard fans, like people that would even like like Billy Corgan, like they would be like he's so cool. Whereas there's so many people that have problems with him, but like a lot of people, like the true fans, are like, no, we love him. So
I think he's super cool. I
yeah,
like I like him. And
yeah,
it's hard
absolutely.
like some rock stars, but I like him.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. It is very hard to like certain rock stars for sure. Yeah. Well, we're getting close to an hour here. I super appreciated the conversation we had. A lot of fun. Glad that we could kind of talk about some of these older artists that, so they're still kind of relevant today. Like relevant in the sense that their music has lasted this long, but like some of them are still relevant in the sense that like The Cure, they just put out an album that a lot of people really, really loved and kind of
Yeah.
saying like, hey, we're still on top here. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on and chatting. And yeah, we'll
Thank you very
hopefully
much.
have you
I
on
also
again.
had a lot of fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Awesome. Well, for the guests out there, thanks for tuning in. Go follow Augustina. You mainly on TikTok and Instagram, I would assume.
Yes,
Um,
but also I make playlists on Spotify, and
yes,
the playlists that I make are inspired on all of these artists that we've been talking about just now.
that's amazing.
So if you like The Cure, if you like The Smiths, if you like Joy Division, then you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
find some playlists that are very like inspired in them, so that you can also find some newer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's kind of like the vibe that I'm going for.
Yeah, and you should say your handle because I'm not going to say it
Well,
right.
it's Agus Argolia, which
Okay.
I don't think people will understand that either if I say it.
Hey, it's better than me trying to butcher it, I think. Yeah, but no, it's honestly been awesome. Listeners out there, go give her a follow if you don't. I'm sure you already do. And yeah, check out the Spotify playlist because that's really cool. I have actually tuned in to several of those because yeah, it's super cool just to be like, hey, this song, or like, do you want a playlist that sounds like this song? That's super cool. Or this artist. I love it. Yeah. So thanks for tuning in and check us out next week for another episode and another guest.
Thank you.